Charles Tannock, we noticed that there are huge difference in positions towards Syria, for example, with Iranian government. Do you think these differences, existing difference, can allow to work together on solution of Syrian problem?
Well, clearly over Syria, we have to talk to all the parties. That includes Russia and Iran, who are supporting the Assad regime. You can only make a peace deal by talking to enemies and between enemies. And Syria right now is a killing field. It's also producing a huge exodus of refugees, and there is some question mark whether the Russian bombing recently of the Aleppo area is actually increasing the refugee flow, maybe even deliberately to destabilize the European Union, which is a very serious issue. But I have some hope for the Geneva talks, but not great. The ceasefire announced already has been broken or not implemented. The ceasefire that Kerry of the United States announced is not holding very well, but it's better than nothing. But Iran, Mr. Zarif was in our committee today, not just to talk about Syria, but also mainly to talk about the nuclear agreement and whether or not, it is open to any question marks. I personally am still always very guarded about Iranian intentions. They are still developing ballistic missiles, which are capable of carrying nuclear weapons, which contravenes a UN Security Council resolution 1929. And so I asked him that question. He didn't answer it. The human rights situation in Iran remains appalling, with over 800 executions. And minorities like the Baha'is, the Christians, are persecuted. Iran is still a theocracy, a dictatorship, a very intolerant system, but it is a powerful country, and you cannot ignore the Iranian economy, particularly now that it will have $100 billion or more to spend as the nuclear agreement kicks in and frozen funds are released. So we have to engage constructively with Iran, but I'm not going to be uncritical of a country whose track record in so many areas has been lamentable. Its support for terrorism like Hezbollah and Hamas, to give you other examples, in the Middle East. It's not particularly helpful, mind you, neither of the Saudis over the civil war situation right now in the Yemen. And so the region is very dangerous and very unstable, but the only hope is dialogue. And as I said before, we have to talk to all parties. And in Syria, the only hope is to stop that civil war. If the civil war carries on, many more innocents will die. But the refugee crisis is in real danger now of destabilizing the entire European Union project and delivering a Brexit for my country. In Britain, we are about to have a referendum on EU membership, and one of the topics that constantly comes up from those who wish Britain to leave the European Union is that it's not able to defend its borders against migrants, that all these migrants coming from Syria, Afghanistan and further afield will all get EU passports and so on. So this is a very serious issue in the British press, in the British public air of debate, and ahead of the EU referendum it would be extremely helpful if Syria could be stabilised.